then. So Steve will go first. But I wanted to show a show of hands here, because the states of California and New York have made steps to raise their minimum wage to $15 an hour. So Wendy, get ready with your camera. By a show of hands, please raise your hand if you support raising the minimum wage for all workers to $15 an hour. Okay. So Steve, you know, yeah, easy one, right? So, but Steve, why do you support raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour? And that goes to each one of you.
Well, that's a great question, and the answer is quite easy. Number one, the economy has changed tremendously since minimum wage was started. You know, when I was young, people could get out of high school and get a good manufacturing job that paid a decent income, and they could work 40 hours a week and support their family. Those jobs are gone because corporations have had their way and created policies that allow them to ship those jobs overseas and take advantage of people in other countries. So we in this country are left with low-paying, service-oriented jobs. We're trying to raise families on that minimum wage. We're trying to save for retirement on that minimum wage. We're trying to save to put our kids through college on that minimum wage. It can't be done. In fact, in most states, if somebody works minimum wage 40 hours a week, they're still considered impoverished, and they're eligible for public assistance. And in fact, a lot of corporations know that, and they tell their employees, listen, you're still eligible for public assistance. I know we're paying you dirt, but go get public assistance. And they do. So then we have the government subsidizing these corporations who pay low wages. The economy has changed. Times have changed. People need to make a living wage. And, you know, the second reason is, if you had adjusted the minimum wage with the economy and inflation over the years, it would be at almost $15 an hour now anyway. So for those reasons, I strongly support raising the minimum wage across the board in this country, and I think if we work together, we can get it done.
Yes, I support raising the minimum wage to $15. I think it's a matter of dignity and respect for people who work hard and long and come back home and sometimes have to take second and third jobs. The low minimum wages undermines family. It undermines the vibrancy of our economy. That kind of money is circulated quickly. So absolutely, it's all part of economic security. I also support, I don't believe my two opponents do, I also support Medicare for all. Medicare for all because it's a human right. It should be a human right to make a decent wage when you work hard and have a job. It should be a right to live in decent housing, to have good schools for your kids. All of this has to be changed. All of this has to be worked on. And I think it ties to something else. We have to change our campaign finance laws. That is creating a stranglehold on our nation. It's undermining our democracy. I want to leave a democracy for my kids and my grandchildren. I'm worried that we aren't going to be able to do that with what we've been seeing today. Even apart from Trump and Cruz, the stranglehold that corporations and big moneyed interests has is undermining everything. Big pharma is forcing us to pay huge prices for drugs that we can get for a third the price if we go over the border to Canada. So I see it all connected. We have been had by money shifting to the very top. We continue to be a productive country, the richest country in the world. And my God, the richest company in the world can afford to provide absolutely excellent schools for every child, excellent health care access and good health care, and a job. I would also like to see jobs for kids in the city and elsewhere. I'd like us to try with the Civilian Conservation Corps again and some other services. Kids need to know they have a future, so do their parents.
Thank you. Colleen?
Yeah, I absolutely support raising the minimum wage. You know, as somebody who actually has worked minimum wage jobs and struggled, you know, when my son was first born, I know firsthand how these issues really affect people and how living, you know, if you're working 40 hours a week, there is no reason why you should be living in poverty. There is no reason why you should have to struggle between paying the rent and putting food on the table. This is something that I personally lived and something I will fight very hard for once I get to Congress. You know, I agree too. I think we need to tie it to the cost of living. This is something that we're debating and arguing about every few years. If we just had it with the cost of living increases and it goes up, then we wouldn't have to be fighting about it. We wouldn't have to turn it into politics, but we could actually do something good for the hardworking families, not only of this district, but all over the country.